All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Nick Blessing. I'm the secretary of the Kansas Green Party. I'm joined by another member of the Kansas Green Party, Jesse Borowski. And we have four of the candidates who are vying for the Green Party presidential nomination. Um, and we have upcoming in about 3 weeks, I think, we're going to be holding a vote for the Kansas delegates. And without further ado, we're going to get started with a little forum here. We're going to try to keep it to maybe a little bit over an hour. We'll see how it goes. We're going to start with opening statements, about 1 minute each. Um, and let's get started with Jorge Zavala. Jorge, if you will, please.
Hey, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I really appreciate the time and opportunity to speak and to be here. I'm looking forward to a good adventure with everybody. So let me start off to say that I'm aggressively proposing new green technologies that can be easily implemented into the United States. We can lead the economy and strengthen our military. I'm here to show that if with a lot of hard work and belief that a common man is supporting the ideal ways of United States people for the Commonwealth. I want to uphold the Constitution and defend it. I want to make clear of that. And I also want to make clear that there's free and equal opportunity. So there's a lot of open opportunity for reform and for positive changes. So I'd like to conclude that I'm here and available. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jasmine Sherman, please.
As we embark on the journey towards the next chapter in our nation's history, it is with great enthusiasm and a shared vision for a brighter future. I'm Jasmine Sherman, and I'm honored to be here with you tonight. Our beautiful land is facing unprecedented challenges, and I'm here to champion a future where compassion, empathy, and justice prevail. In these trying times, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Our environment is changing, our infrastructure is falling, and too many among us are struggling to make ends meet. It's disheartening to see our hard-earned tax dollars being misused to fund actions that go against our very values. But my fellow citizens, this isn't the end. It is a call to action, and I stand before you with a vision where we give every person a home, guarantee everyone healthcare as its fundamental right, and provide education free for all with universal basic income to ensure that no one is left behind. Together, we can build a future where every voice is heard and the well-being of our communities take precedence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Adam Hollick.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. I left 2021 from the Pentagon as a cyber and information operations advisor. And I saw very bad leadership. So I decided to put my hat in the ring and run for the next commander-in-chief because I don't believe anyone in the other platforms are trained to be such. They do a great job of being corrupt presidents, but job one is to protect from foreign invasion, and they don't know how to do that.
Sorry, Adam, did you mean to stop your video? Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on with Davi, please. I just asked you to unmute. Sorry, you're still muted.
Greetings to my fellow humans of Kansas and our great nation, America. I am Davi, artist, tech founder, and 2021 candidate for mayor of New York City and avatar of Earth. In 2020, in New York City, I vow to ensure the sacred protection, harmony, and natural evolution of humanity and Earth. I'm running to earn your vote in 2024 as the President of America and leader of the free world. I am seeking the Green Party's presidential nomination. My areas of focus include rehabilitation and recycling, providing healing-oriented support for those ailing in body, mind, and/or behavior, finding harmony and balance between usage and contribution to Earth, the American Refresh, a 4-year transition where through paced collective voting, Americans vote for the exact government that we want moving forward, intentionally managing the growth of technology. And then finally, the emergency mediator wing of the police, an emergency mediator wing of the police that on demand mediates tough situations and conversations without guns, batons, or slow court dates. I invite you to read and listen to the full campaign plan at bydavi.com, también en español.
Thank you. So we're gonna start now. We'll start. We have one question that I will ask. I can repeat it if you'd like me to. We will start with Jasmine Sherman on this one. What is your political background, and what political parties or organizations have you been affiliated with in the past or currently? Sorry, you're still muted. You should be able to.
Thank you. My political background is I'm a regular schmegular person. I am not a politician. I have become a politician because I want to serve my country in this way. I am affiliated. I'm proud to say that my staff and I have made history. I'm affiliated with almost 5 political parties right now. I joined the Green Party back in 2016, and then I left to go to make sure I could vote for Barack Obama. And then things kept changing. And I thought that it was important that whoever runs for president gets ballot access in all 50 states. By me and my team having the strategy of working with multiple political parties, the Green Party, the Unicorn Party, the Peace and Freedom Party, and the other 2 parties that we are currently courting as well. We can't say their names yet, so that we can be on all 50 states ballots, because that's how you win.
And I'll follow up with that really quick, Jasmine. You can just answer this really briefly. I mean, is there kind of a criteria for political parties that you would associate yourself with, and if so, what would that be?
I associate myself typically with parties that align with my values. Any political party that puts people first and can support my guaranteed housing, universal health care, free education, universal basic income. I'm not going to lie to you. They're not right-leaning parties signing up to participate in what I'm offering, right? They're all really left-leaning, not weaning. Oh my gosh, left-leaning, right? Because I am still queer, Black, and fat, right? So you have to be pretty open-minded. What I will say, though, is I do think that we have to get beyond political parties, and identity is not your political party. They were started to help an individual get elected with other people that align with their values. The parties are just the vehicles, y'all. We can get there.
Thank you. Same question to Adam Hollick. I can repeat it if you would like me to.
No, that's okay. I have no political affiliation. I'm a one-man show, registered Green Party because of the proof of concept that I built at my house with a solar system, 2 batteries, Tesla batteries. So I'm self-sufficient in case of power outage, and I want to take my template and share it with the next generation on how they can expand the footprint away from the industrial age society.
Sorry, we lost him. I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry, Adam. I don't know what happened. Your video disappeared, and I couldn't hear you anymore, but it doesn't look like you were muted. Don't want to. Here, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go. Jesse, do you have how far he got into the time?
Yeah, he got 46 seconds into the time.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to Davi, but if we can, I wanna come back to him because I want to give him his time. So Davi, I'm asking you to. Oh wait, I think we're getting him back. Maybe. Here, I'm gonna ask you to unmute again. Mute again. Sorry about that.
Can you hear me again?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It seems to happen both times.
Yeah.
We'll do the best we can. So basically, when I came back from my retirement in 2021, I saw a lot of change. I had been in 20 years inside the basement with a TSSCI clearance, and I realized the lack of leadership that exists. So I'm worried about the future for my children. I have a 23 and 25-year-old. I've written a book that's about information operations and the ecosystem that we live in. We're all interconnected globally now like never before, where we can use technology, and we should have learned from things during COVID that we can leverage for the post-COVID world, like sitting at home and doing these type of venues instead of sitting in traffic burning fossil fuels. I basically view we live in a state with a state, so we can fold the federal government by dual hatting positions. So if I were to be elected president, for example, my real job would be a 2-star general in the state of Maine where I live. That's in the physical state. In the virtual sense, I would be on this computer being the president, so that I would have 2 jobs, and you're already paying state income tax anyway for your National Guard. So we can reorganize like we did back in 1993, because I believe, and I'll stop
I'm
after
sorry.
this.
I'm
I
sorry.
believe that the pandemic was.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I believe the pandemic was World War III. So
Thank you.
I hear politicians
you.
say, "Hey, we're gonna," I'm not a politician. I hear them being stupid.
All right. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you for that.
Let's move on to Davi. The question was, what is your political background and what political parties or organizations have you been affiliated with in the past or current?
Okay, so in 2008, I worked with Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente on their campaign trail. That was the first time I was able to vote. And so I voted for the previous nominee, who is now my competitor, which is kind of amazing to see, as time passed. But my focus is humanity, and I see that the Green Party is a party that is a non-corporate party, and because of that, we have the opportunity to represent humanity authentically without the givings and negotiations of money. So we can present a new choice that provides equal salaries for chosen work, a new choice where all have access to quality housing, a new choice that covers all healthcare costs. That choice is within this campaign plan, and it's called Earth Order. It's order in Earth, a way that we can balance our energy and our contribution to Earth so that we are no longer disconnected from each other or from the land and waters in which we require to live a healthy life. So I'm asking for your trust so that we can lead together.
Thank you. Jorge.
Yes, thank you. I'm not a politician. I don't have experience at running things into the ground. I don't have experience at creating high tax rates. I don't have experience of corrupting the people. But I do have experience directly with working with the people. As I grew up as a Democrat, and in now associating myself with also no labels because of the common sense type of understanding that they have. This separation of parties, I don't like. When you separate and segregate, you don't have a common ground. So me stepping over these gaps and creating new bridges to be friends with Republicans, Democrats, and any other party, I have open arms for. So again, association with other parties, I think, is essential for proper growth and development. We do got to break these parties up so that the people can be nonpartisan, that we have a goal and a path that we can all follow. Right now, everything's scattered and everybody's in argument. So, but we do have a chance and an opportunity right now because we are at a crossroads pivoting point of ethics and a balance of our future. Who's going to make the decision and how do we make these next steps into the green technology? So I believe I have these answers and the plan to do so.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. I'm going to talk kind of generally about democracy. We're going to start with Adam Hollick on this question. For a healthy or functioning democracy, what do you think is essential for that?
I think right now the biggest thing is to build trust back in the system, especially the voting system. There's a lot of people that argue that it was a failed election and it was rigged. Whether it was or wasn't, it definitely indicates that there's a lack of trust in the system. So to rebuild that trust, I think it's essential that we push for a dual authentication voting system where DHS would send a watermarked ballot 1-for-1 to each voter. The voter would take it to their town hall or equivalent, whatever town hall. For me, it's a town hall. Go vote in front of the clerk and get it notarized, and then it's my responsibility to mail it back to DHS and do a 1-for-1 vote. I don't think the voting system's gonna help democracy anymore the way it is. The Electoral College has too many corrupt attack surfaces into the cognitive supply chain. So meaning the cognitive supply chain is getting from the democracy, the voter's mind, to who we would elect. And that has been corrupted over the system that has been developed over the years since the establishment of the Constitution. So we basically need a system update.
Would you think that, I mean, you were talking about kind of like having more checks and like getting your vote notarized or something like it. Or would you not be concerned that that's maybe overcomplicates the process and would cause even more people to not vote?
No, I don't think so, because basically you give them 30 days. The DHS sends a watermarked individual social security number, whatever it is. They have the information from the selective service. They know who's 18 years old. You give people enough notice to say, this is where I live. So every voter gets it in the mail and they have 30 days to execute their vote. They go down to their town hall on their break or whatever, go just like they would pay their, get their registration for their car or go get a certificate to go use the dump. It's just once every 4 years, you go down during the time window, you vote for who you're going to vote for president, and the clerk stamps it that, yes, this is you, and then you mail it back direct. And
Sorry,
so
I
I don't.
appreciate the response to the follow-up question, but we're just running out of time.
Too much time.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're running on a tight schedule here. Sorry about that, but let's move on. So Oh, do we not still have Davi? Oh, there he is. Okay, Davi, same question. What elements are necessary for a healthy democracy? Oh, there.
Uh, well, I think we need to talk about what democracy is first, right? So it's a demonstration of a system. Theoretically, that system currently is supposed to ensure that each one has a voice in the creation and management of government. And what we found is this demonstration of a system is not working. And so what happens in this campaign plan is Earth Order is an app where you will have 4 months to have access to all of the candidates and or issues that we will be voting for within the voting window. And during that time, you'll be able to see each of the representations and the points associated with those candidates and or issues so that you can actually digest what the information is. Because I've noticed that we are going to the voting booths and just filling out names without having any real content as to what those names mean and what those names mean for our living and our society. So this is a way for us to take the time, understand what the options are, and then actively make a choice that reflects our ideals.
It's almost like spoon feeding the research for the voters, kind of, is sort of what it sounds like to
Yeah,
me.
I mean, at this point,
Making it easier to have the information that you need to make an informed vote.
exactly. Just make it a smoother process so that this is about, I mean, for the government, I see this as the government needs to ensure that it's an easy process for the voter to understand what the options are. That's the government should be gradually softening and making sure that that is something that people have access to in a modern day, because we have, you know, internet and everything available at our fingertips. Why can't we just streamline what the things that we are concerned about in this election?
Thank you very much. Jorge Zavala. Oh, here, I gotta have you unmute. You're still muted. I'm asking you to unmute. Sorry about that. You should have a dialog box that comes up and that you can click on. I apologize. This is one of the limitations of this. Oh, there we go.
All right.
Go ahead.
Can you re-clarify the question?
Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of an open-ended question. It's what do you think is required or what is necessary for a healthy democracy to thrive?
Oh, I see. Because I wasn't sure if it was on the ballot. So democracy, we have inclusion, transparency, and accountability. They're cornerstones. They all have to be met. If one is without the other, it will fold. Transparency. You need to have a clear understanding of what's happening. What direction is the money going, or benefits? Inclusion. Everybody has to participate. How do we identify? We have with bio and facial recognitions now built into our phones. We have high security already implemented on us already. Utilizing that is what we need to start adapting. But of course, as we talked about the gerrymemorandums, the ballot lines, that's got to go. Terms have got to go, or your vote's got to count. Democracy's got to come from the people. It's the power of the people, and it's the transparency and how these people are working together. We don't know how to work together. We don't want to work together. We want our leaders to do the jobs, but they failed. So I challenge the people of the United States to bring democracy back into your hands. Sign the petitions on my website. Take the initiative. We must step forward. We got to move together in order for this to all make a positive change and a difference. So democracy means you and me together. So our finger that we're pointing is on ourselves now. We have the responsibility because you know they're lying to us. You know they're failing. And you know that we cannot stand and let them do that. And because if we do, we're part of the problem. And I don't want to be a part of the problem. So stand by me, stand behind me, and let me kick that door down to make a new positive tomorrow.
Thank you very much. That's time. Jasmine, same question, please.
A healthy democracy thrives on several essential elements. It begins with free and fair elections, ensuring every citizen's right to vote is respected, and those rights are not taken away. We also must make sure that we start treating everyone equally. There are so many anti-trans legislation bills that we need to remove. It is hurting our morale. I also believe that we need to make sure that the separation of powers across the executive, legislation, and judicial branches are crucial to make sure that we prevent the abuses of power that we have recently seen. A free press and access to information to keep citizens active and engaged. We are watching in real time journalists die to tell people the truth. We are watching in real time our current president suppress information and take things off of social media. We are seeing voices silenced at an alarming rate these days. We have to preserve civil liberties like freedom of speech and assembly. We know that Tom Tillis has recently put forth legislation to prevent boycotting in the streets, right? Like there are actual attacks going on. And to provide a healthy democracy, we must ensure and sustain these people's rights to assemble. These elements, along with political tolerance and holding leaders accountable that don't do their jobs, will help have us a healthy democracy.
Thank you very much. On this next question. This next question is about the Green Party. And we're going to start with Davi on this one. Mute. How do you plan to use how does the Green Party fit into your campaign, and how do you plan to use your campaign to grow the Green Party?
Social justice, peace, education, democracy. What this campaign offers is a perspective on all those things. So I see this campaign plan as both a reflection and a new perspective on everything that the Green Party has been building for 38 years. And it is my honor to, in any way, represent the work of the folks with all the Greens within the nation. We are at a point now where over 60% of the nation is ready for a third-party president. And it doesn't seem like they're leaning towards the Libertarians or any other party. So this is the moment when Greens have to understand their importance within this political climate, not just within America, but within the globe. We are the only party that is interested in offering a perspective that unites the Earth, our actual planet, within our talking points, within our policies, and within our public engagements. So this is, for me, I don't see any other party that is reflective in that way. of the things that are being presented in this campaign plan. And that's why I chose the Green Party, and that's why I choose to use this period of time to not only take in information from all Americans, but also let them know of the great opportunity that has been afforded because we have had this party working so hard for almost 40 years now.
Thank you, Davi. Same question to Jorge Zavala.
Taking this opportunity and chance, again, we're at a major crossroads for climate. And what I've been discovering, there's lots of grants that are out there that are initializing some pilot testing for the green, bringing in the water vortex implosion system, trying to bring in bio scrubbers for the air, biofuels, free solar optical lighting systems for the homes. Right now, the plan is in motion. Whereas the state of California is in a water crisis right now. Their farmers are going to pull the water in about 6 months. It's going to be everywhere. Price is going to double. People are not going to get the food. It's going to be a real big problem right now. So me trying to fight legislation in the state of California and bringing forth this green technology that people just don't know about. They're not aware. I have discovered briefly in 1918, there's an engine that the Ford company has. It's almost perpetual. They reheat the exhaust so hot, it reformulates into a combustible fuel. It's been there since 1918. There's only a few people on this planet that know of it, and I know of it because I met a gentleman by the name of Dennis McCauley that died 6 months ago. He had an engine. They took him a couple miles down and showed him the engine. So what I'm saying is that I know that they're lying to this, that I know that there's a difference and the technology is here and it's available now. We don't need to wait. We need a pressure. What we need to do is break the constraints of the patents. And so again, I urge you to take the initiative, sign the petitions. Let's break the constraints. The technology is here. It's readily available. They're lying to you, and they're literally making us blind to the situation, and only to make us dependent on them further for the next advancement. So we need to wake up, take charge, and take a stand, and saying we know the difference.
Thank you. Next is Jasmine.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question is, how do you plan to use your campaign to grow the Green Party? And
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So one of the things that we have been doing to grow the Green Party by bringing visibility and recognition. My campaign is on every platform that we are talking about the Green Party. We are sharing the Green Party's hashtags, and we are encouraging people to join the Green Party. We are proud to say that we were able to turn in over 200 signatures of new potential members across the country so far by mobilizing supporters. One of the other things that we will be doing, obviously on every email, there's a fundraising button, right? So that has the potential to help the Green Party as well, because all political parties need money. And the other thing is to promote our policies, right? The Green Party's values, the 10 key values. Not enough people hear them, not enough people are talking about them, but my campaign and I are. And so that is how we are currently helping to grow the Green Party. And we look forward to growing the Green Party even further.
And your answer kind of just makes me think that even presidential runs like these, I'm not surprising anybody by saying that the chances of winning are very low, of actually becoming president are so low, but there's a benefit of taking people out of the major corporate parties and bringing them into a non-corporate party like the Green Party, I would think. Would you agree with that?
I disagree that our chances of winning are low, because we have the National Interstate Voter Compact now, and it's only 4 states away from being ratified federally. However, those states that have not signed on to do it, I'm sorry, those states that have signed on to do it have agreed to this election give their popular vote to the candidate. I'm sorry, when the popular vote goes to the candidate, so will the electoral votes. So that is a big change. We also need to take into account that different states have already taken on ranked choice voting. So I disagree that our chances are low, but I do feel what you said about other things.
Thank you. Thank you. Adam, I'll ask you to unmute.
So I'm a bit of a rookie at the Green Party and politics in general. I did not even vote when I was in the Army since 2008 because I was so high on the chain of command. I didn't want to vote for my boss. How I'm helping the Green Party is not going to be what it wouldn't be something that you would like to hear. It's more that my message getting out there along the lines of what Davi was talking about with Mother Earth and protection of Mother Earth and shifting our main effort away from fighting each other to fighting climate change. So if I were in charge, I'd be working with China, Iran, everyone to say, let's find common ground and declare war together on climate change, thereby expanding the core value of saving the planet. So that's the biggest tie that my efforts have to maybe expanding the Green Party if my efforts to gain the seat this election don't happen for me. To promote the core energies, renewable energies. The other gentleman talked about the perpetual energy or the engine from 1918. There's also, if we work with other countries, I think France uses a lot of nuclear energy. We're hogtied by our own reliance on fossil fuels. And now those fossil fuels are tied to corporate entities and to the electrical power grid, where they're a self-looking ice cream cone in the fact that FERC, who regulates the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is owned by the people.
We lost him.
Lost him again.
It says internet.
That's okay. Adam, if you can get back on, Jesse, let me know how much time he had left, okay? Oh, he was basically out of time apparently. So, okay, then next question, we're gonna start with Jorge again. So this next question sort of has an assumption in it, I guess. Um, in a movement to advance the goals of the American left, if that is what you are in favor of, any candidates answering the question can disagree with that if they were to. But what role should the Green Party play in that? And kind of implicit here is that Green Party doesn't make up the entirety of the American left. So what role should the Green Party play, and how do you envision the Green Party playing that role? Jorge Zavala, please.
Well, as we step to the left and step to the right, left wing, right wing, down the middle, we have to have all of the above. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? These positions of left and right, being conservative or being aggressive is out of order, I believe. There's no common ground. The problem is this: the separation of truths. There's three truths in the world. There's your personal truths, there's your political truths that we have to acknowledge and accept, and then there's objective data that can be converted into objective truth. Now, this is common ground. If we can position ourselves to not take a side, if we can position ourselves to have an objective moment, and then to place that moment as a goal, so that we can separate ourselves from left to right, to not let that data come close to us, but keep it separate. We must have a clean perspective on our future. There's all these different paths that everybody wants to go through, and all these derooting these the lobbyists, the entanglement of truth that we cannot see is because we're obfuscated by money. Who's right and who's wrong? Who's bringing in the most? So when we go to the lobbyist, the website, and you can see how much money each of these congressmen are pulling in. As long as they're pulling in something.
I'm afraid that's time. Thank you. Jasmine.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was there, and I think there's maybe some. I'll say this too first, because of some of the things that that Jorge was pointing out, and this is totally up for disagreement. I'm not sure if I agree with what Jorge said, but there's sort of there's problem. I think there's problems with the question because I'm using terms like the American left, and I think that may mean something different to everyone else. But my question was, where does the Green Party, what role should the Green Party be playing amongst the American left in order to promote the goals of the American left, which I would say things like ending wars, getting limiting climate change, increasing the power of the people,
I'm able to
free
answer it.
healthcare.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
go ahead. Thank you.
All right. So the thing that I want to say, and I sort of do agree with Jorge, labels are not getting us anywhere. I said earlier in one of my statements that I don't think that people should make their political party their identity. What I do think that Green members should be doing before my campaign is over, while my campaign is going, after my campaign is going, when I'm in the White House, the Green Party members and all citizens of this country need to be practicing mutual aid. You need to be taking care of your neighbors. You need to be kind to the people around you. You don't have to like everybody. Clearly, many of us don't like everybody, but we have to begin mutual aid. We have to begin removing the consumerism from the priority that we have. Like, it's my understanding that recently people got into a fight over a cup at Target. That seems a little extreme to me, right? We need to move past the superficial. And the best way we can do that is through mutual aid. There are people who overcook things. Offer some of that extra food to your neighbors. There's people who have winter coats they have never worn. Offer those to your neighbors. If you don't want to talk to those people, put a card out in front of your house with a sign that says free. It will be gone. The sooner we start taking back our communities by being involved and active in our communities, and I understand because things are so tight financially and our employers are unrelenting, which is why I think unions are important and UBI is essential. I do get that you think you don't have time for mutual aid, but there is always time, even if it's just a smile when you don't mean it. I mean, don't smile if you really hate it, but you get what I'm saying, right? Be kind, people. Be kind.
Thank you. Thank you. Adam Hollick.
Yeah, so in my vision of the future of politics would be to push authorities down to the states. So I don't view the Green Party as an American left or American right influencer. I think it would be up to the state in which the party exists, because what works in Maine doesn't work in California, doesn't work in New Jersey necessarily. So if we focus at the macro level, at the federal level of the Green Party, and keep things to climate change, that border security and healthcare, all of that is wrapped into declaring war on climate change when you reorganize your forces under Department of Defense into the National Guard, where every citizen can then become a member of the National Guard and be on the payroll so we can pay ourselves. It's because we are already paying for what I realized as a federal employee. I was getting benefits that the states were paying for. So we're already double dipping against ourselves. So I see a macro view for the Green Party where it can be a moderate voice to squell the two-party system that is the better of two evils right now, that keeps us divided as a country. There's no room for strategic vision, because every 4 years we're fighting as to, is it going to be a Republican or a Democrat? Even mainstream media, it's hard for the third party to break into that. So I would view it as a moderate voice, focused at the federal level on the big issues, and then let the states resonate for what makes sense for them. Because it would be based off of the resources and needs of each environment.
Thank you. Thank you. Davi?
My first point is that this campaign is for the American human. I'm serving the American human. I am an American human, and you are as well. And so that is my core place of service. Secondly, it does not behoove us as the Green Party to talk about a left or a right, because what that says is that we live in a duopoly, and that is totally untrue. And I think we as a Green Party really have to understand that that is completely untrue. And not only is that untrue, the two major parties are corporations, which means that the people who are representing are employees who are executing the will and desires of the corporate heads, who we don't see. As I said before, over 60% of this nation is ready for a third-party president. The greatest difficulty that I'm finding within the Green Party is the Green Party's own lack of belief in themselves. The nation is saying, hey, Green Party, can you present us a presidential candidate that we like? Because we're open and we're ready for you now. That's the reality. Are you willing to step up and say, hey, this is our presidential candidate, and or this is our presidential candidate slate? That's your question. And I want you to take this on truly, because this campaign is prepared and on the way to make breakthroughs that the Green Party has never seen before, right now. So I encourage you to release your own cynicism and move into the possibility that you theoretically join this party to create in the world, because that's what's available in this election. Not next year, not in 15 years, absolutely right now.
Thank you. Let me just check where I'm at here. So I'm gonna have one more round of questions, and this is going to be one question for each candidate. It's gonna and individualized. Let's see. I I'll start with Jasmine on this one. We had looked at your platform, and we were wondering if you could discuss your position on the death penalty with us.
Well, the Green Party does not support the death penalty. Me having that on my website is more about me being transparent about who I've been on social media since social media was created. All my life, I have believed in the death penalty, especially when you look at the atrocities that happen to Black people in the United States of America. We literally have 215 bodies found of people who, not at a prison, were missing limbs, organs, that type of situation. So I definitely supported the death penalty when it comes to how people in this country treated certain demographics in this country with no sense of justice or remorse. We all watched Derek Chauvin cry out before he died. So, but that's just me. I've also been shot twice. So, that and being in several mass shootings, it does make you consider removing the problem permanently. However, the Green Party does not support the death penalty. And I am not a president running to be a tyrant. I am running to provide people with housing, healthcare, and education. And so I understand that when my constituents request something, it's okay for me to do that, unlike Joe Biden.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. And Adam Hollick. Now, I was wondering if you could. Now, I just picked. Now, I just picked. Sorry, just a second. I've got an echo when you're on, so I'm gonna. I've got a couple of topics. I picked this up from when you were speaking earlier. You mentioned nuclear energy and you mentioned border security. Could you can pick either one of those topics, whichever one you're more comfortable discussing. Could you just discuss your position on either one of those topics, nuclear energy or border security, please?
So border security is more appropriate because it's for, you can see it every day. It's what everyone's talking about, and it's something that we have to get control of. To me, it's a two-part solution. And it's tied once again to once the commander in chief, he has 9 months, he can declare war on climate change. He then doesn't need Congress. He can use his forces any way he sees fit for 9 months.
Oh, you lost. Yeah, send the military to the border.
Part of part one. So part one is declare a day where you have license, legalize the immigration.
Jesse, how much more time did he have left?
He still had about a minute left. I think we should maybe circle back to him if he reconnects.
Okay. Okay, good idea. All right. I'll go to our question for Davi then. I was just curious about you've got this expression that you use, avatar of Earth, and I was just wondering if you could just kind of explain what that means. And yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So in 2020, I went through a process where I decalcified my pineal gland. And what that did for me is it gave me access to the same magnetic field that the elephants and the birds use to migrate, and the butterflies as well. And in that, it's a part of the magnetic field of Earth. And because we have fluoride in our water, our brains are unable to digest this information. So in that process, I received a bunch of information about the history of our Earth and essentially why we were stuck as a humanity. Because theoretically, if we had, Egypt, Kemet, Camelot, and Atlantis, and Lemuria, all these great civilizations, how did we end up in a society where we are constantly fighting with each other, have technology that's constantly glitching, as seen with Adam, and we are not maturing into a society that is respecting of each other, evolving in creating a symbiosis and synergetic energy. And so the question was for me, well, if I have all this information, what do we need to do? And so there was essentially the campaign plan came, and it was on me, right? If I'm going to say that anybody in leadership is inadequate, I need to be presenting a challenge. And if I'm not presenting a challenge, then I have no reason to complain. So before I was past the 35 mark, I had to complain, right? Because I could not lead, right? But after the 35 mark, and I noticed that my father and my uncles and everybody that I admired was not stepping up and asking these questions about how we can get better. I knew that it was my turn to do this work, take this oath to Earth and to humanity so that we can move forward. Because who else is going to take it on if we don't do it ourselves? So that's what the avatar position is for me.
All right, thank you. Adam, we got like one more minute for you. So just to go right back to what you were talking about with border security.
Okay, part two of it, once you declare an iron wall, you funnel all the people that want to come in to your existing points, and you have wait list as needed, but you give them green cards and you let them in. The let them in legally. The invasion at the border is when they come in, make money, take the money, and leave with the money. That's the problem, because our economy is a shared dollar. So when they come in by the droves from Mexico to make their families better and they send money home across the border, that's hurting us. So if we make them part of our society at the beginning with ID cards and documentation, and we have control the flow, and we find places to use technology, that's where the new energies come in, where we can expand into the deserts, where away from the power grid, with solar panels and other things, so we don't have to be reliant on industrial age systems, and we can put housing up for these people, and we can expand new cities and new environments into existing spaces that we're not tapping into because we're stuck on a 1950s infrastructure. So the
Sorry,
border problem.
Sorry, that's
The
time.
security. Okay.
Thank you, though.
Yep.
Okay. So now, Jorge, I want to ask you. I think you discussed. You mentioned no labels earlier, and I think you said something about common sense principles. Could you talk a little bit more about that, and what are those common sense principles?
One of the common sense principles that caught my eye with the no labels, I think his name was Patrick or Peyton. He looked at the guy that wrote their policies, he looked at mine, and he was, so we liked what we were looking at. One of their issues that they were talking about was, like in Congress right now, they can't come to an agreement. Well, if you take their checkbook away, if you don't pay them, they'll come up with an agreement real quick, won't they? So they don't, until they produce, they don't get paid. And so I'm like,
well,
there's
Jorge, let me push back on that real quick, because if they're not getting paid, well, aren't there many members of Congress, or aren't most, actually every member of the Senate is a millionaire? Aren't they already independently wealthy? So does taking their paychecks away really do anything?
but see, that's a good point, and I like that. That's gonna separate and lift the identity of who's actually doing what wrong, or who's pulling in, who's hanging on by what money. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? It's like it's going into a room and asking every FBI agent what's going on, and this guy says everything's great, everything's perfect. I want you to watch him for 6 months, because everybody's got something wrong and this guy's got something right, so we can look at it in reverse. And I like how you said that. You know what I mean? They're getting money from all these areas. Yeah, that's my point. Where are they getting this money? And if they're already getting paid off, like Davi said, they're already getting paid off by someone else. Who are they working for? We know they're working hard, but they're not working for us. And so some common sense pivoting points that you can say, oh boy, look at, we got one that doesn't care because he's getting this from over here. So again, we know that they're working hard, but who are they working for? That's the question.
Thank you. Well, it has been an hour. What I'd like to do now, I'm just going to give and we'll start with Adam on this one. I just want to give each candidate another 1 minute. And once again, we're timing you, and I'll probably cut you off more quickly. So try to keep it to 1 minute. Just final words. Why should you be the Green Party's presidential nominee? Starting with Adam Hollick.
I believe I have the most experience inside the wire, 20 years of a top secret SCI. I've advised multiple presidents at echelons above brigade, 4-star generals. I've been in the room with Mike Pence when they announced the Space Force. I've seen things inside the Pentagon from 2017 to 2021. My rank as a lieutenant colonel was as high as I could go in information operations, and my master's degree in cyberspace leadership, with the knowing that the fight is in cyber. I know how to control the electromagnetic spectrum and push those authorities and resources down to the states. So I think that we should all work together as a Green Party and take it this year, because if we do work together, it doesn't really matter who the president is. We'd all be a part of a National Guard system where you'd all be full colonels or generals or whatever working to fight climate change. So it's more of a figurehead position in my mind if I were to win, and I would be a 2-star general in my state, and you would be a 2-star general.
I'm sorry, that's time.
I'm sorry, that's time. Okay, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Davi, 1 minute, your final words, please.
So equality takes into account the interdependence factor for our national society. Even though capitalism may value Wall Street more than anyone else in the planet, that shareholder still needs their organic farmer for quality foods, the engineer to pave the streets, the artist to have the music to sing or dance to, the quality teachers just in case they have a child that requires education, janitors to keep the buildings clean. So this campaign is the opportunity for America to live in equality moving on from January 5th, 2025. So please sign up. Join the email list at byteiv.com. Sign up to volunteer, donate, join us on social media, even though I'm shadow banned, and make sure that we have a chance to speak with you further, because you are the articulators, you are the teachers of how we move forward. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Nick, for setting this up.
Thank you. All right. And Jorge Zavala, your final words in 1 minute, please.
Thank you. I urge you and I challenge you to make the right choice, to think critically, to look at your future, and I challenge you to move forward. I want you to follow me down a new path, a new era, a new way, a time of hope and inspiration. We want someone who has practical experience, that knows what they're doing, has been successful, has been through obstacles, through prejudice and bias. You got to learn how to sacrifice and pull yourself up together, inspire those around you. That I must be flexible and listen to my fellow participants and constituents, the people that are supporting me to move forward. I'm a man of the people and for the people. So I say this to you if you have power and belief in yourself, that there's no challenges that can be undertaken. So this new chance and opportunity to bring forth new light into the new era of America, I want you to vote for me, Jorge Zavala, at votejz.org for your next Green presidential candidate.
Thank you. And Jasmine Sherman, your final words in 1 minute, please.
As we find ourselves at a critical juncture facing a decision that will shape the course of our nation, I implore you to consider the analogy that running for president, being president, is akin to taking the wheel of a car. Yes, the vehicle is important, but what truly matters is the individual behind the wheel. I'm an experienced, fearless driver in this analogy, and we need to navigate the challenges that lie ahead. For far too long, our nation has been stuck in the slow lane, hesitant to take bold steps necessary for progress. It is time that we ensure that no one in our borders is houseless. Everyone has universal health care. Everyone has access to free education. I don't know you, and I know you spoke to someone stupid today. We also need to make sure that people have access to universal basic income. This will give people the opportunity to join unions and make sure that they get on equal footing with their employers as they negotiate these currently terribly unfair wages that we all live under. I embody the courage needed to shift into the fast lane, and I accelerate the change our country requires. I recognize that our journey is hindered not by a lack of resources, but by a lack of will. It's about execution, not just rhetoric. We need a leader unafraid to confront fundamental issues. You can learn more at jasminesherman.com. Jasmine like the flower, Sherman like the tank. It is your country, and it's time that your voice mattered to everyone. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining Kansas Green Party tonight for this forum. Like I said, this has been recorded and we are going to upload it to YouTube. And you can, and all the candidates, please share the video. And thank you all and have a good night.